Hi everyone. My name is Chibby Dangana, and I'm here to share with you briefly today about my own personal experiences, parenting, living as a single parent with two children. I live in the UK now. I moved in 2020, and when we moved, my husband decided to stay back in Nigeria, so I moved with the kids, and it was decided, okay, he'll juggle, do to and fro. So coming in, to be honest, that was the first shock. I might call it a culture shock, because back at home, I had everything. I had my nanny, I had my driver, and then people around, relatives to help do stuff here and there. So, what some of the challenges coming here was, first of all, the cultural differences. So, I first faced the fact that there was no nanny and no driver to do those chores that I was doing initially. In Nigeria, my children were not doing any chores, like washing their bathrooms, doing their laundry and all of that. And those were things that now posed as a challenge, because we came in and I found that I was struggling so much. I had to settle into a new environment where I knew no one. And then my job at the time. So imagine in that space, you're trying to settle children into school. They're getting back your cooking, giving them their meals. You're trying to clean up, tidy up, and I'm very neat. I like things neat, prim and proper. So those were some of the challenges I faced, because here, you're on your own. I had friends and family, but I think the closest was probably about 15 minutes from me. So it wasn't something I could jump out and say, oh, please, can you help me with the kids today? Or can you help me do that today? So it was really me trying to juggle. So, some of the things that I did, and sorry, I'm just looking at the question and trying to speak at the same time. But some of the things I started to incorporate were things like, getting the kids to start doing things on their own. So I started learning to delegate, like called my daughter, Daniela, hey, let me teach you how to wash a toilet. I think she was about 12 at the time when they arrived. Yeah. So yeah, let me teach you how to wash a toilet. So those were some of the things we started learning. She started doing that. Then I started teaching them how to sort out clothes so they could do their laundry. So these were some of the things that they started helping me do to ease off some of the stress. Because mind you, when you're parenting overseas as well, you see boredom and loneliness is another department on its own. So yeah, having to now juggle it with all of this stress at home, because some people say, no, your kids were older and all that. When you have younger kids, it's harder and all. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily easier with older kids. Yes, I can delegate, but to be honest, parenting a teenager is not child's play. You're talking, you're advising, and imagine that this person was also facing her own culture shock in school, seeing kids do things she never knew were okay for a child of 12 or 13 to do. Same thing with my son. So it was all of that. And is there anything I miss? And is there anything I'm, loving about what I do now? I miss the help, because I like a chill life, soft life. So I miss that. But, what I love about what I'm doing now is that I'm closer to my kids. We've built a very strong bond. We've built a very strong relationship. So that's the other thing I won't trade for anything. And most times I tell people, I believe God brought me here for such a time as this. And, because by the time my kids started telling me things that were happening back home before we moved here and stuff, I'm like, really, that happened at home? Where was I? They say, oh, mommy, you traveled. Because my job, I traveled a lot. And in Nigeria, we delegate parenting to our nannies. And that's what it was for me, And truth is, we would always give excuses and make it inconvenient. Oh, I'm there. And sometimes you're there, but you're not there. So I realized that even the times where I was there back home, I wasn't present, because I would tell them, I just spend maybe 5 minutes with them. I'm like, mommy needs to rest, lock my door. Nobody should knock on that door, things like that. But coming in here, we bond, like my kids and I will sit just, like I can scold them this minute. The next 5 minutes we're laughing. Like we built a relationship. Like my daughter now, she's going on 15 in like 3-4 months. And, she can talk to me about stuff. Although she says, no, sometimes mommy, you shout. But she's now saying that my shouting isn't a threat to my love for her. Instead it's brought us close, and that's one of the things this environment does. It's just us, so it's just me and them, no third party. And then working from home has also helped, because I'm not juggling, to and from work. I'm at home, so I'm able to do the school run. On the way to school, we're gisting, talking about stuff, how was school. These are some of the things I miss, because in Nigeria, even if I used to do school runs, I had a driver in the car, so there are things you can't say sometimes. So to be honest, those are some of the things I love. So now the next question, do I feel guilty about certain things? Absolutely. So yesterday something happened. I'll use that as an example. Comes in very handy. So this week, for example, I had to start a new role, a new job, and I knew I was going to be having to do a lot of catch up. I was also stressed from the weekend and the previous week. So I said to my son, you'll have to walk to school this week. Now his walk is probably about 10-15 minutes walk. And you have other neighbors and people walking as well. And he was happy to do that. I mean, he likes walking a lot of times, to be honest, and the weather is better. So yesterday, he had a tournament he had to attend, and this tournament was in a school outside their school. Coincidentally, and good for me, this school that he was going to do the tournament to represent his school is not far from my house. It's another like 10-minute walk. So because I didn't drop him in school yesterday, because I knew the tournament was happening yesterday, but to be honest, I just got distracted. Like I said, I started a new role, so I was busy, and then I was juggling yesterday because I had another event and engagement to attend to yesterday. So not only didn't I drop him, I totally forgot about the time of this tournament, and I just thought he'll be during school hours, so the school will take him and bring him back and he'll walk home. So I got a call from my daughter about, when it was almost time for the tournament, say, oh, Zia just came home. He's not happy. He was upset. He's like, where's mommy? Where's mommy? Because I went out, like I had to go and do some things. I had an engagement. So where's mommy? Where's mommy? And because he didn't see me, of course, he's very driven and passionate. He didn't want to miss the tournament. He just left. He just dropped his school bag and said he was heading for his tournament. Now, I knew this other school was near the house. There's a shortcut, but because we've never walked the shortcut, he didn't know. So imagine this boy. What my daughter said is that he said he would just find his way. So I knew he knew the school. But I was wondering, oh my God, is he going to walk all the way? But I was very far from the house. There was nothing I could do. There was no one I could really call. He doesn't have a phone. Man, I was guilty. My friends that were with me were just like, Chibby, calm down. They noticed my mood change. I was anxious, feeling bad mother. I didn't pick him from school that day. I didn't take him for his tournament. Other mothers would drop their sons. And I was like, wow. But at this point, I'm like 40 minutes from my house. There's nothing I can do. The tournament I called the school. They told me what time the tournament will start and end. So I just said, okay, I'll make a note to make sure I get back home before the end of the tournament. So that's what I did. And by the time I got there, he was happy. He had played the game. And I just said, oh, hi, how did you get there? I'm sorry, mommy's sorry. I wasn't back home to drop you. He's like, mommy's fine. And I mean, my son is quite independent, so that helped. I usually, when those kind of things happen, I usually like to bribe. Sometimes I'm like, I'll buy something for you. Okay, what do you want? I'll give you a treat. I do that sometimes, to be honest, to compensate. Like days I go to pick him up late. There was a day I picked him up like 15-20 minutes late. And he had gone back into the school to wait at the reception, and I felt really bad. There was traffic that day, and when I got there, I'm like, the thing is that we now try to compensate, but I think that's something we need to balance. I tried to compensate. I said, okay, I'll take you to McDonald's, let's just get a treat. And he was like, yeah, so yeah, things like that happen. And so from time to time the guilt comes, but sometimes I have to pinch myself and say, Chibby, it's fine, you're just one person, you're doing your best. And I just reaffirm with love and say, I'm so sorry, and the thing is that sometimes we parents are not used to apologizing to our kids. Man, I apologize a lot now. That's another thing I've learned. Like sometimes my children are calling, mommy, but you did this in Nigeria, hey? Who is apologizing to who? But here, I just find that when I know I'm wrong, I do apologize to them. We have a very healthy relationship. They help me, I help them. Sometimes like, oh, will you help mommy? Sometimes I'm just like, Daniel, I'm tired, will you help mommy make lunch today? And she's like, oh, I'll help you. So, I mean, my daughter is going on 15. So truth is, she's able to help me a lot more now. So, and she's learned so much. This girl didn't know how to, okay, I think she could do Indomie with the nanny's assistant back home in Nigeria. That was the best she could do. But now she does all sorts from, grilled chicken, spices it, mashed potatoes, pasta. She does all sorts. And in fact, I love some of her things. She even bakes. She makes amazing cupcakes. So she does a lot. Sometimes I'm just craving something. I'm like, will you make this for mommy? And sometimes they just know I'm stressed and they're like, mommy, stay in bed today. My son just comes up, should I make you a cup of tea? I'm like, yeah. So, these are some of the things I enjoy. And, maybe back home, maybe because of environment, society and all that, we're not very intentional and conscious. So, I mean, this is an encouragement. Like, I know, this would probably, help those parents overseas, mothers living alone, single mothers, but the truth is, even if you're listening to this and you're still in a system or an environment where you have all the support system, try and be more intentional about spending time with your kids, doing stuff with them. Now, sleeping and resting strategies and still staying uptight in your career. The truth is my weekends are locked down. Saturdays, like this Saturday, my son plays football. So every Saturday we have a game, So the truth is I use my Saturdays to chill. There are some Saturdays I just clear out and I'm like, I'm not doing anything this weekend. My weekends are the best time to rest. To be honest, in this environment when you're working, it's hard to get rest time during the week. The best I can do is say I'm sleeping early. Like there's a season I'm just like, by 8 p.m. I'm going to bed. Once the kids are going to bed, I'm going to bed with them. So that's one of the things I also do as well. I'm very intentional about it. Sometimes I just shut down my phone. I switch off my phone literally and I'm resting. You know, I switch off Wi-Fi. So I'm like, okay, if you need to reach me, you're calling me directly on my phone. You can't even reach me, you know, on anything like WhatsApp or, you know, any of those things. Yeah. And then sometimes I go off social media. That also helps me because the truth is, those social media things give anxiety. Like I've had that's another chapter, another topic. But those things are also quite, you know, intense and cause a lot of anxiety and stress that we don't know. And sometimes I just put on the TV because the other thing is that I didn't used to watch TV. If I'm watching TV, I'm watching a message on YouTube. But I found that sometimes it was draining, it was boring, I was lonely. And so I just found, what could make me laugh? So I just looked for either movies on Netflix that were comedies, you know, things inspirational. I wouldn't watch anything that is horror or anything to give me anxiety or, you know, suspense. I don't do that. It has to be fun. It has to make me laugh. And that's what I started doing. And it helped me a lot distract myself, you know, and just chill. And then, you know, the other thing is that, as you can see, this is my space. This is mommy's pad. The kids have their own living space and all that. But, you know, I have my study here. I created an area for my study and then the living space where I watch my TV. That's another thing I became intentional about. I created a space that I could make cozy. So I looked forward to spending my me time here, to be honest, you know, most times as well. So for me, space, you know, things looking nice and all that helped me. So that's another strategy that I also use because I don't want to go out. I look forward to, in fact, my kids and I were in a hotel the week of Easter. We went to lodge at the spa for a week. And by day 3, I'm telling my daughter, man, I want to go back home and miss my bed because my room, as in my spaces, I create it and make it look really nice, like a hotel in itself. My sheets are nice and white, you know, like nice bed sheets, like the hotel type, really standard. So that's what I've done. I've also created my space in a way that it helps me relax. Those are some ways I rest. And, you know, I also, another way of resting for me is music. I love music. So sometimes I just put music and I'm dancing. Another way I love to relax is just chilling with my friends. I just go to one's house, we lie in bed together and we're chilling. That's good for me. So it's just to find what works for you. And, you know, the good thing is that my kids and my friends' kids and my kids are about the same ages. So we find that they're able to do things together. So sometimes when I go to one of these friends' houses, I could just say, oh, guys, let's go. Sometimes we're there till late. They're playing with the kids while I'm with the mothers as well. So it all balances out. So they're not neglected in my me time as well. So these are some strategies I'm hoping would help people. But the truth is we need to be intentional. We need to block out time. We need to learn to say no. Sometimes people are saying, let's do this weekend. I'm like, because they used to know me, Chibby wants to go everywhere. Chibby wants to do this. But now I'm very like, there's sometimes I'm like, no, thank you, I won't go. My friend's like, yeah, we are going for dinner. You won't join? I say, no, I need to rest this weekend, which wasn't something I used to do. FOMO. I was on that WhatsApp group, but all of those things I had to be selfish and take care of myself, prioritize myself. And it's helped, you know, it's helped me a lot. So I'm hoping these help someone out there that, you know, is juggling kids, work and all of that. It can really get better. It's just about being intentional about your time. Be very intentional about how you use your time and how you equip your kids to help you as well. Learn to delegate, learn to ask for help, even from friends and people around. And don't also isolate yourself if you can. Some people say, no, I want to be by myself. I did that the first 2 years. By last year, I had to move closer to my friends. And it's been amazing having that support network. So these are things that I would encourage you to do. God bless you all. I hope this helps. Bye.